It's Friday, April 10th, 2026. The London Stadium, Stratford, East London. The floodlights are on, the pitch is immaculate. And somewhere in the stands, 62,000 people are trying very hard not to think about the championship. Because West Ham United are in the relegation zone, have been since December. And tonight, they host Wolverhampton Wanderers, the bottom club, dead last, 17 points, 6 games left. It's the sort of fixture that could go either way, or it could go 4-0. Spoiler, it goes 4-0. Let's set the scene properly. West Ham have been a mess this season. A beautiful, catastrophic mess. They went through 2 managers before landing on Nuno Espirito Santo, a man who was famously sacked by Nottingham Forest earlier this very same season. That's right, the bloke they hired to save them was already fired once this year. But football is football. And Nuno is Nuno. Steady, experienced, occasionally very good. And tonight, he looks at his lineup and he picks Konstantinos Mavropanos to start at centre-back, a decision that will echo through the rest of this match. On the other side of the pitch, Rob Edwards is managing Wolverhampton Wanderers, a man who once took Luton Town to the Premier League, which is genuinely impressive, and who is now watching his current club sleepwalk towards League One. Wolves are dead, mathematically not officially. They're 13 points from safety with 6 games left. The maths doesn't work. The maths hasn't worked for months. And yet Rob Edwards is still there, still coaching, still believing. You have to respect the delusion, truly. The first half is fine, technically fine. West Ham press. Wolves resist. Crescencio Somerville, just back from injury, receives a beautiful pass from Matias Fernandes, stays onside, bears down on goal, and then leans back like a man attempting to chip a ball over a garden fence and scoops it miles over the crossbar into orbit. The crowd groans. Somerville stares at the sky offers nothing. Then Jared Bowen gets into the box, swings at it, mistimes it completely, Sadsown, and it bounces tamely into the goalkeeper's arms like a frightened cat. West Ham are wasteful. Wolves are surviving for now. 42 minutes. 3 minutes before the break. The London Stadium is twitchy. You can feel it. 62,000 people collectively holding their breath like a city-sized yoga class that's forgotten how to exhale. And then Jared Bowen whips in a cross. It's a good cross. And rising to meet it is Konstantinos Mavropanos, a Greek centre-back, a man who used to play for Arsenal, a man who has no business being this good at scoring headers. And yet he plants it clean, straight into the net, 1-0, the stadium absolutely erupts. Half-time, West Ham lead 1-0, and somewhere across London, in the plush executive suites of Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, someone is nervously refreshing the Premier League table. Because here's the thing about tonight that nobody told you at the start. It's not just a West Ham versus Wolves match. Oh no, it's a chess game, a relegation chess game. And Tottenham, who are sitting in 17th place, 1 point above West Ham going into this game, are watching, and they are not enjoying it, not one bit. Now, let's talk about Tottenham for a second, because this story cannot be told without them. Spurs are managed this week by Roberto De Zerbi, fresh in, new broom, just left Marseille. He hasn't even taken charge of a single match yet, and he's already staring down the barrel of a relegation scrap. His first game in charge is on Sunday against Sunderland. And depending on what happens tonight, he might be inheriting a club that is actually in the bottom 3 for the first time since January 2009, 17 years. This is how Roberto De Zerbi's Premier League era begins, in chaos. Second half, 66th minute, and now Tati Castellanos enters the story, the Argentine striker. On loan, 2 goals in West Ham colours so far this season. He receives the ball and he shoots. It's not a thunderbolt, it's not a worldie, it's a bit weak actually, the kind of shot that usually gets saved. But it catches the post and it goes in 2-0. The stadium is vibrating now, but it gets better because 2 minutes later, 68th minute, Wolves give the ball away from kick-off directly to Jared Bowen, who feeds it to Castellanos, who takes one touch and rolls it in 3-0, 2 minutes, 2 goals against the same keeper. Incredible. Wolves give the ball away from kickoff. You have literally one job at that moment. Hold on to the ball, one job, and they didn't do it. They just handed it over like a waiter who's already quit but hasn't told management yet, like a man dropping his wallet and walking away. The London Stadium is in absolute pandemonium, and somewhere in the Wolves' end, The travelling fans are staring into the middle distance, processing, because this is what rock bottom looks like. Not dramatic, not angry, just numb. 3-0 and 20 minutes still to play. And then 83rd minute, Mavropanos again, because of course it is. He volleys one in from a set piece, far post, beautiful technique, 4-0. The big Greek man is scoring braces now. The former Arsenal defender, putting Tottenham into the relegation zone with his own 2 feet. There is a poetry to this that a novelist couldn't have written. A man discarded by Arsenal is now the instrument of Tottenham's misery. The London Stadium is singing, and the song they're singing is Going Down with the Tottenham, directed at the visiting Wolves fans, who have nothing to do with any of this but are receiving the message anyway. Final score, West Ham 4, Wolves 0. Let's do the maths, because the maths is what makes this beautiful. West Ham are now 17th out of the bottom 3 for the first time since December, 2 points clear of danger. And Tottenham Hotspur, who didn't even play tonight, who were sitting at home, are now 18th in the relegation zone for the first time since January 2009. 17 years of Premier League respectability ended by a man called Tatey and a Greek centre-back in East London on a Friday night football. After the game, Nuno Espirito Santo gives his press conference and he says, and I am quoting him directly here, it doesn't change anything. 4-0 out of the relegation zone, Spurs in the drop zone, Wolves almost certainly down. And the man who pulled this off looks into the cameras and says it doesn't change anything. Absolute stone cold. The stoicism of a man who has been sacked so many times that joy and relief feel physically identical to him. Either that or he's saving the celebration for the dressing room, where presumably Mavropanos is somewhere headbutting the walls with excitement. Now let's talk about what this means for Wolves, because Wolves are cooked. 17 points, 6 games left, 13 points from safety. The maths is not there. It hasn't been there since February. And what's cruel about it is that under Rob Edwards, they've actually been decent lately. 7 points from their last 9. Wins over Aston Villa, over Liverpool, a draw against Arsenal. They played beautiful football on the way down the cliff, like a man falling and doing a pirouette on the way, which is something. It's not survival, but it's something. And then there's the Hwang Hee-chan angle, because the Korean international started for Wolves tonight and he played 19 minutes before being substituted. 19. And once upon a time, Hwang Hee-chan was playing for Tottenham, Son Heung-min's old club, and now both he and his former club are sliding towards the same abyss simultaneously. The Korean media are having an absolute field day with this. The headline from one outlet reads, and again I'm paraphrasing, "Sorry Heung-min, I'm downgraded to Tottenham football. It really does contain multitudes." So where does this leave everyone? West Ham alive, genuinely, legitimately alive. 5 wins in 11. Nuno doing what Nuno does, playing ugly sometimes, playing brilliant sometimes, but winning. They've got 10 days until Crystal Palace, 10 days to breathe, 10 days to look at a league table and see their own name above the dotted line for the first time in months. That must feel extraordinary, like waking up from a nightmare and not immediately going back to sleep. They can see safety. It's not guaranteed, but they can see it. And Tottenham. Oh, Tottenham. Roberto De Zerbi hasn't managed a single game yet, not one. He left Marseille in February, signed the contract, did the press conference, said all the right things, and then watched his club fall into the bottom 3 before he even touched a football. His very first match is Sunday against Sunderland, and he's managing a club that is officially in the relegation zone of the Premier League. As first weeks go, this is not ideal. This is the managerial equivalent of showing up to a new job and finding the building is on fire. This is the beauty of the Premier League. In April, when the table compresses like an accordion and every single point feels like a punch in the chest. West Ham were 7 points from safety after losing to Nottingham Forest in January. 7 points, winless in 10, and yet here they are, alive, fighting with a Greek defender scoring braces against the bottom team. And across London, Tottenham, with their new manager, their shiny stadium, their historic fan base, are sitting in the relegation zone for the first time in 17 years because of a header and a loose ball from a kickoff. Football never change.